Welcome to the Movie Reactor. Today I will show you a horror and thriller film from 2023 titled The Pope's Exorcist. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to help advise me on how to make this channel more intriguing for your enjoyment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Father Gabriele Amorth, the Pope's personal exorcist, travels by scooter to the Tropea, Italy residence of a young man who was possessed in June 1987. Before locating the man in his bedroom, Amorth interacts with the victim's sister. He addresses Amorth while posing as the devil himself. Amorth mocks the demon, telling him that he lacks the strength to control a pig Amorth brought with him. The devil accepts Amorth's challenge and leaves the man's body to take possession of the pig, but one of Amorth's cronies shoots the pig in the head to kill it. A family, consisting of mother Julia and children Amy and Henry, arrives at their new residence in Castilla, Spain later. Julia's family is attempting to renovate and sell an abbey that was left to them by her late husband. Since then, Henry has remained silent because he saw his father's horrible car accident death. As Henry investigates the mansion, he discovers a mystery room that contains an odd artifact. While Amy is acting grumpy, Julia urges her to try and assist her with Henry. Amorth travels to Rome the following day to consult with church leaders about the exorcism he performed in Tropea without their consent. Bishop Lolumba is the only ally Amorth has, yet Cardinal Sullivan, who disbelieves in demonic possession, has enmity with him. Amorth makes the claim that evil exists by making reference to Rosaria, a lady who was possessed but died when Amorth was unable to save her. He leaves the meeting, further infuriating Sullivan. A flare is lit by one of the guys working on the abbey as they approach the place Henry was exploring, resulting in an explosion that hurts them. From then, Henry starts to suffer a seizure, which Julia and Amy see start. Something horrible seems to have been awakened. Then, for the first time since the catastrophe, Henry speaks, telling his mother and sister that they will perish before he begins to rip at his own face with his claws. Henry is taken for examinations by Julia, but his vital signs seem to be in order. Amy cares to him at home as he warms up, but more odd things happen. The word hate is etched onto Henry's belly as he lifts his shirt. Then, in a monstrous roar, Henry demands, "Bring me the priest." Father Tomas Escabel is summoned by Julia, but Henry slams him against the walls while yelling, "Wrong fucking priest," as if possessed by a demon. Visitation by Amorth to the Pope. The Pope asserts that he and Amorth are aware of the truth as they discuss the other church leaders and their skepticism. The Pope informs Amorth of Henry's possession, confident in his ability to expel the evil, but cautioning him that this demon is extremely hazardous. In Spain, Amorth visits the abbey on his scooter and runs into Tomas, Julia, and Amy. Tomas is aware of Amorth and the novels he has published, despite the fact that Amorth claims they are excellent. Amorth converses with the demon before going to see Henry. It mocks Amorth and declares that it wants to take on the challenge of taking control of an exorcist. Although Amorth generally maintains his composure, the demon has access to his memories of himself fighting in the war and escaping a gunshot wound. Henry is then forced to vomit up a dead bird by the devil. Amorth considers the entity to be genuinely upsetting. Amorth visits Julia to reassure her that they can save Henry by having faith. The demon then begins tormenting Amy by forcing her to hear her father's voice and placing an ominous phone call. Despite having no prior exorcism experience, Tomas joins Amorth in the ritual. The demon toys with Amorth's head by showing him pictures of Rosaria, criticizing him and making fun of Tomas for having adulterous contact with a lady. Tomas is prompted by this to seize Henry and attempt to choke him. Amorth, according to the devil, fell for its bait. The woman, Adela, was the love of Tomas' life, but he regrets betraying his commitment to the cloth, he says in a private conversation with Amorth. They must identify the demon, according to Amorth, if they are to save Henry before it kills him. While he checks a nearby well, Amorth leaves Tomas in charge of keeping an eye on the family. Amorth throws a lit piece of paper down it, which ignites in a huge explosion of flames. The devil inside the home continues its attack by ordering Henry to bite a portion of Tomas's ear off, while also attempting to drag Julia into her bed and fling Amy across the room. Amy and Julia are taken to sleep in the abbey by the priests. While the Pope is reviewing records about the history of the abbey in Rome, Amorth leads Tomas toward the well to investigate the demon's origins. Before being transferred to the hospital, he falls ill and passes out. The Pope attempts to reach Lumumba and Sullivan with a message for Amorth, but instead spits blood in Sullivan's face. Catacombs where non-converts were executed and interred are discovered by the priests, along with one guy who barricaded himself in a cage to protect others. Amorth discovers a key in that man's corpse that leads them deeper into the tombs. He and Tomas discover the body of an exorcist who was also a pioneer of the Spanish Inquisition and learn that he was possessed and infiltrated the church, just as the devil is attempting to do right now by assembling an army of possessed victims. While this is going on, Amy and Henry are both under the demon's control. Amorth learns the name of the demon, Asmodeus, from a book that Tomas finds and shows her. Once Amy speaks, she loses control over her. Tomas understands that Asmodeus is picking on Amorth in particular because he is closest to the Pope. Amorth talks to Tomas about his experiences in the war and his survivor's guilt, as well as his sorrow about Rosaria's suicide in front of him despite his best efforts to save her because he believed she was merely mentally ill. Amorth feels terrible regret for not assisting Rosaria when she needed it because her death made some actions in the church public. Tomas grants Amorth's request for pardon when he apologizes. In order to eventually save Henry, Amorth and Tomas assemble Julia and Amy. Asmodeus taunts the priests by claiming that there is no way to save the boy, which makes his visage appear even more horrifying. Asmodeus continues to mock them by showing them images of Rosaria and Adela, but the priests remain focused. Henry's true voice begins to come through, but the demon's might has rendered him weak. After carving "God is not here" on Henry's body, it takes Amy back and commands her to assault Julia. To save Tomas and the family, Amorth gives in and allows Asmodeus to take control of his body. The Pope notices that Amorth is in danger as soon as he wakes up. While Amorth is possessed, Tomas takes Julia and the kids out of the house. In an effort to expel the demon, Amorth tries to hang himself, but Asmodeus' strength has increased and he is wreaking havoc all about the house. When Amorth is compelled to return to the catacombs, Tomas encounters him and begs him to resist the demon's power. Another demonic vision of Rosaria emerging from the earth appears to Amorth. As the demon tries to destroy the church via Amorth, Tomas aids in the resistance. Tomas throws Amorth a crucifix, and the two work together to drive Asmodeus into a dark hole where the demon is thrown back to hell while other demonic visions of Rosaria and Adela attack the priests. Amorth expresses his gratitude to Tomas before sipping from his flask. To meet the Pope, Amorth brings Tomas back to Rome. He asks for an update on Spain and informs Amorth that Lumumba has taken over for Sullivan, who went on leave in Guam after becoming possessed by the demon. Amorth and Tomas are being transferred to other locations where there are demonic possessions in order to stop the devil's operation, he informs them. Tomas hears Amorth say, "We're going to hell." Father Gabriele Amorth continued to assist people up to his passing in 2016, according to the closing text. He published numerous books, and the text also states, "The books are good. Please consider subscribing." If you enjoyed the content, then please hit the like button as it helps the channel and is greatly appreciated. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy watching this content, then please share and help this community grow. Thanks for watching.